Shalom, ma nishma? Kol tov? Tov. Everything's good? That's good. Welcome back once again to the Hebrew portion of the Torah Club. The name of our portion this week is Chukat. Turn with me in your jot and tittle workbook to page 40. I would like to open the lesson by reading from Numbers chapter 19, verses 1 and 2. Follow along with me in your Torah scroll. Let's begin. Ve'yedaber Adonai el Moshe ve'el Aharon le'amor. Zot chukat haTorah asher tzeva Adonai le'amor. Daber el bnei Yisrael ve'ikchu elecha para adoma tmima asher ein ba mum asher lo ala aleha ol. Once again this week, our Torah portion contains several words with which you're already familiar. We see in the second line, Zot Chukat HaTorah. This is the ordinance of the teaching. In the fourth line down, we have Deber al Bnei Yisrael. Speak to the sons of Israel, Bnei Yisrael. And in the very last line, we actually have a word that's related to our studies in the Torah portion from last week. Let's begin reading from the first word. Asher lo ala aleha ol. Do you recognize Ain Lamed, Allah, to go up? This was the verb that we learned last week. This was the verb that we learned 2 weeks ago from the Torah portion, Ba'alot cha. Oh, man. Shalom, ma nishma? Hi, what's new? Hakol beseder? Is everything in order? Tov. Very good. Welcome back once again to Ivrit. The name of our Torah portion this week is Chukat, and it means ordinance of. Chukat is a related word to chukim, or laws. This is a common word found in the Torah as we study all of the different ordinances that God has given us. I would like to open our study today by reading Numbers chapter 19, verses 1 and 2. Follow along with me from your jot and tittle workbook on page 40. Let's begin. Ve'yedaber Adonai el Moshe ve'el Aharon le'amor. Zot chukat haTorah, asher tzeva Adonai le'amor. Deber al bnei Yisrael, ve'ikchu alecha, para adoma tmima, asher ein ba mum, asher lo ala aleha ol. Let's look together at some of the words that we may recognize from previous portions. For example, in line 4, we have the words Bnei Yisrael, the sons of Israel. I'm hoping by this time that phrase has become very common to you, inasmuch as the first sentence has been, Ve'yedaber Adonai el Moshe. Actually, in this Torah portion of Chukat, and the Lord spoke to Moshe, ve'el Aharon, and to Aaron. Did you recognize Aaron's name at the last word of the first line? The second line, Le'amor zot chukat haTorah. I'm sure you recognize that word, haTorah, the teaching. This is the ordinance of the teaching. The third line, Asher tzeva Adonai le'amor, that commanded the Lord, saying. The next line, Deber al bnei Yisrael, speak to the sons of Israel. The third line, V'yikhu elecha para adoma temima. It means that they will take a red cow that is flawless. Para, the third word in that line, is the word for cow. Adoma means red, and temima means flawless. Look very carefully at the word temima. Do you recognize that word from the Torah? There is a hidden root in that word just waiting to be discovered by new Hebrew students. Think of the words tahor and tameh, clean and unclean. Here, the Lord is instructing the sons of Israel to take a para adoma temima, a flawless or a pure red cow. And remember also that in Hebrew, the adjectives always follow the nouns. Temima bears the same root as the word tameh, or pure. The second line from the bottom says, Asher ein ba mum, and it means that doesn't have within her a blemish. And the last line, Asher lo ala aleha ol. Asher meaning that, lo meaning no, Allah. There's another word from which we can recognize the root. I think it was the second or third portion in the book of Bamidbar where we learned this root, Allah, to go up. It was in the Torah portion, Baha'alotcha. Do you remember? Allah means going up. Aleha means on her, and ol is a yoke. The related words for this week are the same list that we had in a previous portion, Bechukotai, with the exception of the last one. Let's read that last word. It is Chok Tzeva'i. Once again, we have a familiar root. Tzadi, Vet, Aleph. Do you know the name of God? Adonai Tzevaot, the Lord of hosts. Tzevaot is the plural form of hosts, and Tzeva'i is the singular. So a Chok Tzeva'i is a law of host. I cannot emphasize enough being careful to study the roots of your Hebrew words. It is so encouraging to find words that you're familiar with just by recognizing the roots. So keep studying. Onward and upward, we're already more than halfway finished with the book Bamidbar. I will speak to you next week. Lehitraot.